Hello everyone, my name is Rudy, welcome back to Alpha Investments, and today we're going to talk about some market anomalies, some bizarre sealed product, what's going on. So, not going to waste any time today, getting right to it. Obviously everybody wants to know about Commander. Commander's the hot thing right now because it's the typical August time of the year, which means new Commander product. So let's start off with the most obvious, everybody. Commander 2019. It appears, at least from my perspective, distributors have raised the price a couple dollars. It seems to be a little higher compared to the 2018 Commander, but I'm not 100% certain. But on the open market, which is kind of the most important thing, it doesn't really matter what they're selling it for. It depends what the market is accepting the price to be. The market always accepts the price of all sealed products. The market dictates it. Not creepy people like me in the basement, not the Goldfish WPN. It's actually pretty much, eBay, TCG play. The open market kind of sets the numbers. So Commander 2019, surprisingly, 135 to 140 for the 4-deck set? Really? I thought it would be like 129 or 125. Definitely a lot higher than I thought, which is making me nervous. I haven't gotten my official numbers back. And it's making me nervous that the wholesale price has been moved up, or the allocation is going to be really short printed on the release wave. And it makes me a little nervous, everybody. So on the backs of that, I think it's kind of fun to talk about Commander 2018. We can zip back to that real quick. Surprising, Commander 2018 is actually averaging about 140 now, 139.99 on the open market, and not including tax for those of you who are getting hit with tax now. Yeah, I genuinely didn't think it would be that high that quick. I thought it would still be in the 120s, but apparently the expected value of some of the decks has creeped up some, and it's actually caused the overall sealed product to move up a little quicker than I expected. So, in addition to that, there's a significant thinning of the supply side of the number of units for sale on eBay and TCG Player for Commander 2018. I'm not really sure if that's because people broke them down. They're selling singles. I know a lot of the card stores from 2018 last year release, when they couldn't sell the 2018 decks, or their customers, where they were breaking them down, just selling the singles, because the decks have about $30, $40, $50 worth of singles per deck. And I mean, times 4 decks, you can get almost $200 worth of singles, especially if you're selling local for cash. So I know a lot of the sealed product of Commander went to that route, and that really did have a big reduction in sealed product supply. Most distributors are out. I think one distributor has some Commander left, but they raised the price already on 2018. Let's jump over to something else. Another very strange anomaly. Gate Crash booster boxes. Haven't talked about the Gate Crash RTR Dragon's Maze in my pants era in a long time. Gate Crash boxes haven't done anything. They've been like $80, $90 for a very long time, for years. And all of a sudden, the price moved up a little to like the average price on like eBay is like around 95 plus, which isn't really anything to be excited about. That's pretty terrible for, 6 years? It's terrible. There's no return. Zero return for 6 years. Very dead money, in the market, nothing exciting. But the weird part about it is the supply dropped massive. And my only theory behind that is because the Shockland prices, even with the reprint in Guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance, the Shockland prices have been holding steady and actually upticking, and the Guilds of Ravnica and Allegiance are technically still in print. The Guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance are getting towards the end of the life cycle, especially Guilds. I don't expect it to be available and in print from Wizards and distributors over the next few months. I actually think it's going to be cycled out pretty soon. And hopefully we don't have a surprise like Dominaria situation where it's just like, surprise, it's gone. And then there's like a huge knee-jerk market reaction, because I don't think that's healthy for anybody. But yeah, so I'm not really sure what's going on with Gate Crash. If anybody wants to put a comment on there, I haven't seen a lot of expected value increase. After 6 years, it's just really strange, unless somebody bought out a lot. I'm not really sure what the deal is with that. So it reminds me of the Return to Ravnica. About 6-9 months ago, Return to Ravnica was another $80, $90 box for a long time. I remember selling those to patrons for, oh my god, that was in 2016, I sold Return to Ravnica for $69.99 shipped. Isn't that crazy? And Return to Ravnica now is over $100 a box. English, by the way, remember, everything we're talking about today is English, so don't be careful on that when you look up old product online. And yeah, really strange on the pricing on that. So Return to Ravnica is over 100. Dragon's Maze is pushing 100. Yeah. And Gate Crash appears to be readjusting, or attempting to be readjust. Not sure what the story is behind that. So I want to jump over to one other thing. Dominaria, very fascinating after that knee-jerk reaction, where the market had that big jump because of the surprise out of print. It jumped to that 1 to 110 range. Well, here we are months later, Dominaria just sits at 120 plus or minus a couple dollars depending on the flavor of the week. So it's interesting, like I talked to you guys about many times, remember, just because it sets out of print, just because we like the product, does not always mean it's going to be a good investable thing in short term. I tell everyone the same thing. Remember, when the product's in print, shameless Rudy plug, and you're a patron, and you're buying it for $79 shipped, remember, the easy money is always made on that big jump. When the market gaps, when you have that huge gape, giggity, on the market, it's like when the market closes down, 500, 600, 700 points, and then the next day it gaps up 500. You have these huge jumps. And Dominaria did that. On the backs of that out-of-print surprise, it had the huge jump in price, and then it hasn't done anything since. So anybody who bought Dominaria at 120, 130, you've made no money, you're sitting on it. It's going to take a long time to move it further. You see my point? And I don't expect the singles in the set to have any movement in the short term. So you have to remember that. Remember, everybody, the easy money is always made for the people who are buying in early, and they get the product cheap and they wait. Not after the results are in, not after it spikes. You always have people who buy afterwards because they have that FOMO, but the easy money was already done. So just keep that in mind, everybody. Very important to remember. Same thing. Look at Core 2019. No price change. It's been out of print now technically for a couple months. Some distributors still have some boxes. I think some of them raised the price wholesale already. Wizards is not distributing anymore to distributors, to stores, or anything. Well, I guess not to stores. They don't have WPN Direct anymore. But the funny part is, Core 2019 went out of print. No increase in price. Sits on the open market of $90, $95 a box. And now, there is a difference. The inventory online, the amount of sellers and the quantity of boxes is thinning out. There's been a reduction in the supply, but there's been no price movement, dead money. So, want to leave that out there also. Same thing, we'll jump over to the Battle Bond, Conspiracy 1, Conspiracy 2, Rudy's favorite thing to talk about every month when we do these update videos. Battle Bond sits at the average 180. Conspiracy 1, still kind of funny, the older one is 160. Conspiracy 2 is still averaging around the 210s range. No upward movement. It feels like, to me, it's kind of stalled out. We had this huge push upward on sealed product prices on those Conspiracy, on the Battle Bond, on all those old summer sets, previous Modern Horizons when they were cheap still. And it appears those days are over with. The easy money was made. It's flatline. I don't see any more near-term push-ups in the Battle Bond, Conspiracy 1, 2. In other words, the summer sets from the last 3 years. I don't see any more. The easy money was made, like I just talked about. Everybody who bought Conspiracy 2 from me for $69 shipped, bought it from their stores for $70, $80, $90 when it was cheap. Even Battle Bond, when patrons bought it from me for $79 or $85, depending on the quantity they bought at the beginning. Anyone who waited made a lot of money. You had over 100% returns, sometimes 200% returns. But at this point moving forward, I see very little upward movement. I think we're going to be in a consolidation, flatline phase, maybe even a negative 10% retracement over the next 12 months. I don't see a lot of catalyst to push us up to another leg upwards. I just don't see it right now. We had so much movement. I think it's time. And I think that's healthy. I think we stay there, and I think there's nothing wrong with that, everybody. So next thing we want to jump over is the. I know I'm not supposed to talk about it because of my history with the product, but the War of the Spark Mythic Timmy Edition. I just want to make one comment because I get a lot of messages on it from patrons, so I wanted to address it publicly. And that is, just remember, everybody, ever since the whole thing happened on eBay, they hit a peak of $900 to $1,000 per Timmy box. And fast forward, here we are. There's stacks of them now. Buy it now for like $650. So it's already retraced about 30% downwards in price since the hype and hysteria has cooled off. And based on the supply of the boxes, of the Timmy boxes on the open market, how slow they're selling at this price point, I expect further declines. Use caution. If you like the product, buy it for yourself, that's fine. But as far as investability, just use a lot of caution. Still not a fan. All right, so let's move over to a couple other little things here. I want to show you 3 other things. One is let's talk about the Masters stuff. Ultimate Masters, I was totally wrong about. I thought Ultimate Masters was going to be a $500 box by now. Totally wrong. Just like we talked about with the Battle Bond and Conspiracy products, Ultimate Masters has completely stalled out. I mean, flatlined. I mean, Ultimate Masters peaked at about $450, retraced to $4. Now we're averaging Ultimate Masters between $380 and $400 a box. It just bounces around. Completely just flatline. I don't see any upward movement. The supply, the demand, based on how many are on the open market, how many people sat on the boxes, I see no return right now. You're looking at probably 12 to 24 months till we have another leg upwards. Totally got that one wrong. I thought for sure when that was going to 420, 430, 440, I thought for sure we were going to hit the $500 Ultimate Master price really fast, and I was totally wrong. It's stalled, man. It's just completely flatlined. Now, ironically, in this crazy world of Magic, everybody, Masters 25 and Iconic Masters, complete opposite. Complete opposite. Iconic Masters and Masters 25 continue to dwindle in number of sellers and number of boxes in the open market. To this day, I don't know where all the ones in the open market went, because the ones I got a long time ago were distributors during the in-print cycle when it was fire sale, nobody wanted the garbage and made fun of me. Now, all the ones that were on the market for $150 to about $200 a box, like, they all disappeared. They're all sold and gone, and it's just like, you know, I see more growth and potential in the bad products, supposedly in 2018, of Masters 25 and Iconic Masters. I mean, even Iconic Masters at almost $200 a box is probably a better investment in long-term potential spec versus buying Ultimate Masters at $400. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Masters 25 averaging $220 to $240 a box now at full MSRP when we had MSRPs. You know, I think that goes to $300-400 before Ultimate Masters goes to $500. It's unbelievable. So it's really been a wacky time. The Magic market continues to be very unpredictable, very difficult to see where things are going. And, you know, the 2019 has been a major surprise. And of course, a lot of wallet fatigue because of all the new products coming out could be impacting why a lot of these have flatlined and slowed down, because people are just, you know, draining the wallets. So one last thing before we end the video today is the Scars of Mirrodin and Mirrodin Besieged New Phyrexia. Quite frankly, at this point, you know, also with like the original Innistrad, you know, Avacyn Restored, people are now calling that like the golden age of Magic. I've been hearing some collectors and evil investors and beautiful 3% women saying comments and sending messages through Patreon to me saying like, you know, hey, Rudy, it really truly feels like Scars of Mirrodin, Besieged, New Phyrexia, Avacyn Restored, Dark Ascension, original Innistrad, like that whole 6 to 8 set block era with all those sets, it literally is becoming like that is becoming like the feel good golden age of like older boxes, because, you know, Avacyn Restored is pushing $300 a box, and if you go online, the number of boxes left on the open market for Avacyn Restored has plummeted, absolutely plummeted. When I bought my original 100 boxes to sit on, and this was 4.5 years ago, I actually missed the opportunity with distributors, and I actually had to buy from like a Blowout Cards, DA Card World, you know, Cool Stuff, Star City. I had to use a real company and actually buy my position in Avacyn like 4.5 or 5 years. I can't remember the exact date. And I remember having to pay $95 a box versus the $80 price point. And because I missed out on it. I totally wasn't paying attention. I was wrapped up in some other things in life. And I remember there were just so many on the open market. eBay was flooded with Avacyn Restored. TCG Player had, I swear there had to be like 80, 90 stores with just like 20 plus boxes. And Dark Ascension was even worse, man. Dark Ascension I was buying for about 60 to 65 a box on clearance because people just didn't want them by the case. And Innistrad was a little different. That one immediately always held very strong because of Lily and Snappy. Even at the beginning, those held about $100 price points. They never really tanked really low. Same thing with New Phyrexia and Scars. That was the era still where boxes were still the supply was very tight. It was more difficult to get. But it's just funny because here we are in 2019, and there's a very distinctive field difference. Like when you look at or think about a Mirrodin set versus a Gatecrash or Ultimate Masters or any Masters, Iconic, M25, Dominaria, and we look back at everything, and those sets truly do feel and look different. And in my personal opinion, and yes, I hold large positions in all these, at least 100 boxes per set, per product, but in my personal opinion, I didn't think they would grow that quick. I thought it would be more of a slow, stable growth versus just like, and some people blame, well, Rudy, yeah, because Wizards started producing crap, and it made those look better by default. Well, Rudy, the master products have spiked because the new ones suck, and they've been tighter on their reprint policy. And a lot of people just say Wizards' behavior has kind of accelerated the growth of these older products. And that very well could be. Or at least a very good variable or factor in it. But I definitely agree. I hate to say it this way, but They did go up a lot quicker than we anticipated. I did not be able to get a lot more because I thought it would go slower. And on top of that, yeah, they're all going to be $500 plus booster boxes because, simply put, the lack of supply is going to drive the sealed product price. I don't actually think the sealed cards, all the little singles, rares, actually some of them didn't even have mythics back then. All the old cards with rares, mythics, commons, uncommons, even the foil premiums, I truly just don't think that the single card prices are going to go up a lot to push the price of the box up. I think it's going to be 100% strictly derived, just the derivative, fancy big word, Bollinger slap my face. The point is the price of the box is going to be pushed up from supply. That's it. Not because of the cards that are derived from within the box. That's really all I think about it. So yeah, it's just... And as far as beyond that goes, when you go to like the Lauren, Morningtide, Time Spiral, when you look at really old stuff now, I mean, these things are all just already extremely expensive. They're extremely rare. And unfortunately, people say, well, Rudy, why would anybody buy a Morningtide or a Lauren or what's another good one from that time? Shadowmoor, or original. Why are people willing to pay $500, $600, $700, $800 for these boxes? The cards in the box are worth a whole box is going to be worth like $100 because it's not about the single cards anymore. It's a historical nostalgia. And there are groups of people that will buy a $600 box. They draft it, they split the cost with their friends, and they enjoy it, and that's a Friday night for them. And there's a lot more, the gambler's premium type of perspective on those more expensive items. So, all right, I'm done talking today. I hope you guys learned something today. As always, thank you to my 3,700 plus patrons. I think like 100 people's payments were declined and frozen. Anyway, thank you to all the patrons. Appreciate all the support, everybody. Hope you guys are continuing to learn things and kind of be cautious. Think about everything. Try not to use too much emotion to kind of drive your opinion. Always use the long game. And of course, remember, haven't said it in a while, trend is your friend. Around the bend, until the end, then it just punches you in the face.